So I'm going to pick it up and pass it out tomorrow.
No problem.
So it's Futures of Palm Beach. I'm Tim Warden. I grew up in a Catholic, Irish, alcoholic family. I know you're thinking, well, that's kind of redundant. But it's not true, but in my case it was. I got asked to come out from California and create a program out here in Florida, in Palm County there, a little city called Tequesta. It's near Jupiter, Florida. And I decided, yeah, okay, I'll take something from the ground up. Write all the policies and procedures, hire all the people, create the program. And I did it with a philosophy. You described a puzzle that's put together. I wanted to create a program that really had all the pieces that made sense to put together. And I'm a neuropsychologist as well as a psychologist. And the program follows what I consider the neurophysiology of addiction. It's a workshop that I've been doing for years. And the program is an intense program that follows that philosophy. One of the things that we do different is to have a very intense psychotherapeutic piece. All of our primary therapists work with their clients 4 days a week individually. That's 16 individual sessions with their primary therapist per month. We are ready to work with trauma. We're ready to work with dual diagnosis, the deep and emotional issue, and we dive down there. I understand there's a certain percentage of people that are not ready for that. But that's what we do. So we're not for everybody, we're for people who are ready to embrace working on a deep emotional level. I want to say, I don't think Futures is God's gift to rehab. There are many ways up the mountain. And I respect every program, the programs that I'm hearing about, and that's a good idea, that's a good idea. We don't do everything, but I don't apologize for what we do. We are a specific kind of a program. It's very intense. So the psychotherapeutic part also involves a family component. We start working with families from the first week that they come in here, and then towards the end of treatment, it could be a 30, 60, 90-day program residential. We also have detox, and we have a transitional living, 75 beds total. The family component, we call it the family intensive, and it is. It's multifamily, and then we break it apart to individual family. Work with those families without the client there and with the client there, really starting the process of really trying to shift the client's role in the family and shift the family dynamics. We don't pretend that they come to us and they're magically cured. This is a long process, but we like to kickstart it with a very intense kind of program. The second thing we do that I think is different is we have a very, what's called adherent DBT. Emotional dysregulation is the #1 trigger back to relapsing. And so we throw a ton of work at emotional regulation, skill building. And DBT therapy, most of you know it, it's a program that works specifically on skill level of emotional regulation. Well, we take the evidence-based outpatient program, which is a 16-week program, for 4 modules on an outpatient basis, do 1 group a week and 1 individual a week for 16 weeks. All 4 modules in that 16, then they repeat it, and then they repeat it. We take the 16 weeks and we put it in 30 days. We do 4 DBT groups a week. We cover all 4 modules. I don't believe there's a program out there that does that. I was scared to start it. I thought this would be too much. And the truth is it's one of the main things that clients describe as being helpful to them. They're walking away with a set of skills. And they get an individual session a week with the DBT psychologist as well. The other thing we do that we really try hard with is the relapse prevention plan. Now, as a neuropsychologist, I've kind of dedicated, my goal is to try to figure out what's the difference for people who relapse and people that don't relapse. or people who have relapse and relapse and relapse, and then they stop. What is it about those people? What is it about programs that people have gone through that have such a high recovery rate? I've spent a lot of time thinking about working on that, and I don't know yet. But I'm getting there, and there are a few things that I have found. One is people who stop relapsing feel like not relapsing. They have a neurological body experience. I don't want that. They want that. You're inevitably going to have cravings, and they're able to not want it more. It's not a thought. It's not a belief. It's an experience. We practice feeling like not relapsing. We incorporate hypnotherapy. We do experiential work in our intense psychotherapeutic program. We want them to have that gut experience I don't want to use. So we visualize, built into our relapse prevention plan, visualizations of the crash and burn misery that's going to occur and the positive things. You've got to have positive things that occur. Because I say no tonight, what are the good things that are going to happen tonight, tomorrow, next week, next year? So that's embedded in our relapse prevention plan, and there's a family component to our relapse prevention plan where they train the family how to support them in general, how to be supportive, how to support them if you're going to them for help. Train them on how to respond to you. You know, saying, oh God, not this again. It's not the best way to approach it. You want to train them. But most importantly, how can they support you if you're not asking for help? If they think you're spiraling down, or what can they do? Who can they contact? What can they say? It's a very, very thorough plan. And the last thing I think that makes this a little bit different is what I call the life plan. It's great to work on underlying core emotional issues. Vital to walk away with a set of skills on dealing with those inevitable cravings. But you also need a life worth living. You got to attach dopamine to life activities that's going to give you fulfillment. So I copyrighted a life satisfaction questionnaire back in 2003 that evaluates 12 areas that we all need for a sense of life satisfaction. So our clients evaluate how satisfied they are coming into the program, how satisfied they realistically think they can be going out of the program, and we create an action plan on how to increase that sense of fulfillment. The very first thing was do a values clarification exercise. What are the top values in your life? How can we integrate these values on a daily basis? And the longest homework assignment we give is this long list of activities where they cover these 12 areas, they cover the top 15 values in your life, and actual activities that you need to be able to put into your life. From that, we create long and short-term goals, obstacles to your goals, etc. And then we work with them for an entire 3 months to 6 months after they're gone. On something like Skype, it's GoToMeeting, it's HIPAA compliant. So no matter what city they're going back to, we're staying in connection with them. There's no extra charge. So that's part of our attempt to stay with them, to keep working on the life plan and on the relapse prevention plan once they're gone from us. Now, we're not perfect. It might shock you, but we have people that go through the program and sometimes they relapse. We're trying to evaluate in a transparent way our outcomes. Who are we not reaching? What can we do to figure out why we're not reaching? I know one of the ways that we can improve, and we haven't figured out how to pay for it, is ongoing case management, ongoing work, accountability, follow-up urines, people in their environment that's giving them support. I know there's programs out there, and I want to be connected to you that provide that kind of structure. But we aren't able to supply it ourselves. But I know that's such an important, I think it's the next variable for us to get better and better, is to support that, the people, places, and things. The support environment, the activities, the things they can do to support their sobriety, and accountability to that. And our attempt to have the life coach continue to work with them for 3 to 6 months, it's good. It's not enough. We need more. So that's, in a nutshell, that's a piece of what we do. Questions?
On that, you could talk a quick minute about program A and B.
Even program A, which is less, there's a few things in the therapy that we still do 4 days a week with the psychotherapist. That's a $25,000 program, and the other one's about a $40,000 program. We do extra family work. They have an extra psychologist assigned to them if they're doing program B. There's some more work, but they still get 2 individual therapy sessions with the counselor to work on the relapse prevention plan. They still get hypnotherapy, etc. So although it's less than, everything I just described was actually our lower level plan. The higher level, get a nicer room. It's 75 beds. Every bed actually has its own bedroom. They may be sharing a suite in between them, but they have their own bathroom and their own bedroom, so everyone is actually technically a private room. But the single room are a little bit more. So there's some niceties that go with the more expensive program. Very few changes in there. I didn't even mention we're an eating disorder program too. We work with eating disorder only, without an addiction. We work with addiction only, without eating disorder, and we are particularly set up for the blend. We have 7 eating disorder clients right now. All of them are blends. We have worked with anorexic only, have worked with binge eating, or, believe me, we have a whole program, set of therapists that specialize in eating disorders. We are an eating disorder program, but we are particularly set for the blend, and we work with males and females as well. So that's something unique.
What do you do if your eating disorder clients are refusing meals?
We work in a very supportive manner. We meet them where they are, as opposed to say, Renfrew or some other places that you have to do 100%. And you're going to private dining. If you don't eat 100%, then you're staying there and you don't get privileges, etc. We don't quite do that. What we do is we figure out what's going to work for you. Do you want to go into public dining? Would it be helpful to have you in private? But we set goals. And so if they say, no, I don't want to be in private, I'll look too different from people. I want to do public. I say, okay, you got to eat 50% of your meal. And you got to do it, for 2-3 days. And if you're not doing it, then we need to reassess and bring you back in. We're trying to avoid power struggles. We don't attack and say, you got it. Everybody starts in private dining. Everybody has their doors locked, etc. We work with the individual, and we're trying to figure out a way to work collaboratively with them, rather than a specific set of rules that everybody goes by. But we don't let it go very long to recognize that if they are not eating, or they're eating only 30%, 25%, etc., then, okay, all right, let's figure out a better way to support. This isn't working. You're here committed. We have a whole connection with the first session with them about they're here to change, and they need to challenge themselves. What are your challenges? What kind of foods are scary, etc. So we have a whole system.
Do you incorporate the 12 steps at all in the program?
Yeah, my background is 12-step. With my parents' marriage getting, solved through Al-Anon, really. My father getting sober through the 12 steps, and me going to Alateen since from young. I'm 12-step biased, and we offer that, and if the relapse prevention counselor gets a feeling that the person would really benefit by working through the steps, and to bring in a sponsor. So we do all that. We encourage, a temporary sponsor. We have meetings every day, but we don't demand it. Rather than requiring the person to do the first 3 steps, we offer it. And what happens is it's kind of an Aikido move. Instead of forcing them, we strongly encourage it. We offer it, and after about 2 weeks, it's so common. Our culture is mostly 12-step. And the culture takes them in. They get stir crazy after a couple of weeks. So, all right, I'll go to a meeting, because their buddy, who they respect, has gone to a meeting, and it didn't bite. And suddenly they have a different take from their experience back in their hometown. And we help them I'm a non-dogmatic person. And so we help them in a non-dogmatic way to get as much as they can from the 12 steps. So that's a long-winded answer.
Rick, first, Lisa Brute is an old friend of mine.
Oh, yeah.
She drugged me to your open house for
Oh,
a few weeks.
yeah,
And
okay.
it's very nice facility. I was very impressed. But a question I do have on the eating disorder side of it: do you tube feed what you don't, and what body, what what would you accept and not accept, that kind of thing?
That's a good question. You know what? I hate to label it BMI, but because you know BMI of 15 depends on the person. If they're crashing and burning, you know, and they're hitting 15, we won't take them. But if they've come from an inpatient or residential, an inpatient where they did do some tube feeding, and we're getting reports that they're engaged in treatment, and now they're up to a 15, then we'll take them at a BMI of 15. So we don't like to label a particular number, but we don't do tube feedings and that sort of thing. But we have all the structure. We have 2 different private dining rooms, great nutritionist involved. So it's all, you know, the meal plannings are all there, et cetera. We have everything necessary for a fully used program.
Any other last question?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you have a tour coming out of Moments of Change last year?
Yeah.
I might have misunderstood something. Did they say that the clients keep their cell phone and their laptop?
Right now what the rule is while they're in detox, no cell phone, no laptop, anything. And even if they don't go into detox, at least the first 3 days are no cell phone. And then it's a clinical decision. If they're in any way abusing it, or we're feeling like they don't, you know, they're not in the mindset to be able to do that, we don't give it back to them. It's a clinical decision. And if they do, we watch them carefully. If they're, you know, arguing with people behind, you know, between sessions and it's disrupted their treatment, then we take it away. So we do allow them to have that capacity, but they got to earn it.
Some of those rooms are magnificent. Don't they have like kitchens, some of them?
A kitchenette.
Yeah.
There's no stove. But they have a refrigerator and, you know, it's their own sink,
That's
etc.
beautiful.
It's but the clinical program's beautiful. I can munch English language.
All right.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.